Hi everyone, and welcome to Queer As Cat, my personal vlog channel. Over a year ago, I made this channel with the goal of it being a place where I could archive or record my journey of self-discovery, and also where I could vent about stuff and add some awareness and visibility for non-binary and asexual people of color along the way. And now that it's been over a year since I made this channel, I know that I have a lot of new viewers who may not know that much about me, so I thought that I'd introduce myself again. So first, the basics, I guess. My name is Vesper, and I'm a 29-year-old American living and working in Japan, at the moment anyway. I'm a panromantic, biromantic, asexual, and for those of you who don't know what that means, it means that I do not experience sexual attraction towards anyone. However, I do experience or can experience romantic attraction towards people of any gender. And if you want to learn more about asexuality or romantic orientations, you should check out some of the older videos on this channel. I'm also non-binary, more specifically maverick. And this means that I am neither male nor female. I am not a mixture of the two, nor in between the two. I am not neutral, and I am not lacking in gender. I have a very strong and clear gender that happens to be independent of whatever it means to be male and female. And I choose to call this gender maverick. So, yeah, please refer to me with they, them, their pronouns. Thank you. Aside from the basics, what else is there to say about me? I was born and raised in Las Vegas, where I lived until I transferred universities to Portland, Oregon. In Portland, I graduated with a bachelor's in linguistics. I love languages, and maybe one day I'll even upload a video in Japanese or Esperanto to this channel, who knows. But after graduating from college, I moved to Japan to teach English, and I lived in Japan for 3 years. Then I went to Australia for 3 years, and now I'm back in Japan teaching English again. In addition to languages and culture, my hobbies include photography, cycling, traveling, food, and animals, especially cats, but I love all animals. Beyond the basics, which are totally not interesting anyway, I don't know what else to say about myself. So in a previous video, I asked subscribers if they had any questions for me or anything that they'd like to know about me. So now I'm going to answer those questions, and I'm going to try and keep the answers brief so that this video doesn't end up being like 20 minutes or something. Question 1. What are your favorite books, literature, authors? I have to be honest and admit that as much as I love reading, I really love reading, I don't really read much in terms of novels at all these days. Usually I'm so tired that whenever I do manage to find free time, I just vegetate in front of my computer watching Hulu or Netflix. And yeah, so with that in mind, my all-time favorite author at this point in time is Anne Rice. I absolutely love the Vampire Chronicles and the Lives of the Mayfair Witches. Reading those books in high school literally changed my life. I can't tell you how, but they did in so many ways, and I will forever cherish those books. Another book that I really enjoyed is Room by Emma Donoghue. Who are your top 3 musical artists? Top 3, this is really difficult. I'm just gonna throw out 4 in no specific order. I love Ladytron, Röyksopp, Sound Horizon, and Yuki Kajiura. They are literally my gods of music. Oh, and Malice Miser, but they are really old school. What are your favorite anime series or manga? I don't really watch or read anime or manga like I used to, and this is going to be evident in my answers, but my favorites are Genso Maden Saiyuki and Gundam Wing, Revolutionary Girl Utena, and Fullmetal Alchemist. And the fact that 3 out of those 4 are predate the year 2000 shows how old and out of date I am. I'm sure there are lots of more recent anime and manga series that I like, but I can't think of them right now, and those four are my all-time favorites. Do you or did you play any instruments? In school, I played the violin for 4 years. I actually wanted to play the double bass, but I was flat out refused because of my height and stature, because I was too small. And they wouldn't even let me play the cello. I was given the choice of the viola or the violin, and I chose the violin because I felt like if I had to choose something, I didn't know anything about the viola, so I went with violin. I actually still want to learn how to play the bass, but at this point I feel like I'm too old and I won't get anywhere with it, and the instrument is just so expensive that I can't ever learn it. I've also wanted to learn to play the synthesizer for so long. I've been so close to buying a synthesizer so many times, but again, there's the age and the time, and I don't think I'll ever make buying the instrument worth my while. What inspires you? This is a monster of a question. Where do I even begin? In terms of this channel and my videos, I have to say that watching others' videos really inspires me. It inspired me to create this channel. I feel like there's an assumption among people who watch YouTube and who watch vlogs on YouTube that vloggers are really brave and confident people, and I have to say that that is not the case at all for me. I am not brave at all, but seeing other people put their stories out there and talk about such personal things really inspired me to try and do the same. So if it wasn't for all of my favorite vloggers, or vloggers in general, this channel wouldn't even exist. I am not a brave person at all. It's just, I wanted to try, and here I am trying. To answer this question more generally, I would have to say that nature, the world, nature inspires me more than anything. As an animist and a nature photographer and an animal lover, I draw a lot of inspiration from nature, from animals, from the things around me. I think, yeah, I can't even imagine being the person that I am today without having those things grounding me and inspire me. Aside from that, there's also some awesome people who inspire me too, of course. Any dreams for the future? Sure, I'd love to own my own home one day, have at least 2 cats, maybe a dog, and maybe a special someone in that picture. And I'd love to be a successful photographer. That is my ultimate dream. And also to have financial stability, because God, I'm so tired of living from paycheck to paycheck, barely living from paycheck to paycheck. And I could throw out a bunch of dreams about human rights and equality and public awareness, but I won't even go there. My dream for the future, I don't know. I try not to dream too big or too much. I like to ground myself in the present. I feel like it's easiest for me to get through life that way. Do you consider yourself African American or just American, or what? I feel like this is a really loaded question, especially in the wake of the recent interview of Raven-Symoné. And if you haven't seen that interview, or you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, I'll put a link to the interview itself in the description of this video, so please watch it. Anyway, in brief, Raven-Symoné was recently interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, and she said that she is American, not African American. She said that she cannot trace her roots back to any particular country in Africa. However, she can trace her roots back to Louisiana. And I can very much empathize with her response and how she feels. Having said that, I am both American and African American. Outside of America, when I introduce myself as American. I'm American. Inside of America, yes, I tick the box that says African American / black. And yeah, I have mixed feelings about that because, as Raven says, I cannot trace my roots back to any particular country in Africa. They are actual Africans who move, who immigrate, who live in America, and I feel like they are African Americans. But at the same time, I'm not going to say that I'm not African American, so I identify as both. And yeah, identity politics. So much fun. Not. It's a really complicated topic, and yeah, that's the brief answer that I can give you. Is Japan expensive? The short answer is yes. I think that, no, I don't even think, it's 100% fact that Japan is more expensive than America. However, there is a difference between just visiting Japan and it being expensive and living in Japan and it being expensive. The cost of living in Japan is high. But if you're just visiting Japan, I don't think that it'll be that much of a problem. What's your other YouTube channel? My first and only other YouTube channel is under the account NiceStar, and I created it back in 2006, and since then it has accumulated just a bunch of random videos. Totally random, that channel. I don't know if I'd even recommend you go watch those videos, but you can if you want. It's a bit of everything. Videos of events in Japan, cat videos, Esperanto videos, stuff and more stuff. What's been the most difficult thing about living in Japan, and what's your favorite thing about it? The most difficult thing for me personally, and I think this has to do with my own personal flaws, is saving money. Japan has perfected consumerism to a science. It's not even an art, it's a science. And I feel like I have zero immunity to it. I mean, buying things in Japan is expensive. Going places in Japan is expensive. Eating out in Japan is expensive. It's just expensive in general, and I'm trying to save money for various things, but it's difficult. On top of finances, dealing with expectations from Japanese people, be it at work or outside of work, can be really challenging. And yeah, if you ask me what those expectations are, it'd be a laundry list. I can't make that brief, sorry. Two of my most favorite things about life in Japan is food and the places. When I left Japan, I missed Japanese food so much. It's to the point that even when I'm not living in Japan anymore, someday Japanese food is going to be a major part of my cooking style and cuisine. And the places in Japan, there's just nothing like them. I love the nature, I love the cities. I just love that about Japan. Your thoughts on GLBT issues in Japan? As a foreigner, I feel like my view on LGBTQIA issues in Japan is very much that of an outsider looking in. I mean, I try to be active, I would love to be active in the LGBTQIA community in Japan, but no matter how active I am still an outsider. I view everything through the goggles, through the lens of an American and everything that comes with that. So yeah, having said that, I feel like LGBTQIA everything in Japan is perhaps decades behind where it is in other Western countries. Actually, that could be said about a number of things in Japan, but particularly human rights and awareness and just everything that relates to the queer community. I feel like, yeah, it's behind in most regards. There are some cultural things that Japan one-ups other countries on, but yeah, this is a really big topic that I could probably make a video, an entire video about, and maybe I will in the future. Your thoughts on being American and or African American in Japan. This is another question that I think I could easily dedicate an entire video to in the future. But I feel like the question is actually two questions, because what it's like to be an American in Japan is one thing. What it's like to be an African American in Japan is another. All Americans don't face the same experience in Japan, obviously. And obviously my personal experience is colored by both being an African American and being an American, so yeah, maybe in the future I'll make a video about this if people are interested. What would you have liked to know when you were younger? What would you, with the experience you have now, tell your younger self? I wish I had known that asexuality was a thing. Hell, I wish I had known that bisexuality was a thing. And as embarrassing as it is to admit this, I didn't even know that homosexuality was a thing until high school, because that is how removed sexuality in general was from my life in my childhood growing up. And on top of that, in addition to knowing that there's more to sexuality and sexual orientations than being heterosexual, I wish I had known that any of those sexualities could even describe me, because even upon knowing that there's more to sexuality than being heterosexual, it took years to connect the dots that, hey, I could actually be something other than heterosexual, because, I don't know, in my family, in my culture, in my childhood, there was no other option. I also wish I had known that the gender binary is bullshit. If I could send a message to my younger self, it would be to stay true to yourself, to not try to pretend to be something that you're not, because I spent too much of my life doing that. What question would you like to be asked for this video? Plus answer. Nothing in particular, really. That's why I asked you guys what you wanted to know, because seriously, me thinking about myself is the most boring thing ever, and I can't imagine anyone else being interested in any of that. So yeah, thank you everyone for your questions. I'd like to thank everyone for watching my videos once again, whether you subscribe or not. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the feedback and comments that I get, and even if you don't leave comments, I just appreciate you watching. I really didn't expect for this channel to come this far, but I'm really excited about the future. I will try to keep uploading regularly whenever I have something that I want to talk about. And I usually have something that I want to talk about, but finding the time is another part of the problem. But yeah, please hang in there with me. Thank you again, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!